Children say strange things. Parents know this. Anyone who has spent time around young children knows this. They say things that don't make sense, things they couldn't possibly know, things that make you laugh or scratch your head and move on. But sometimes, not often, but sometimes, a child says something that doesn't make you laugh, something that stops you cold, something that is specific and detailed and wrong in a way that cannot be explained by imagination or misunderstanding. 3 stories tonight from parents and caregivers who heard something from a child that they have never been able to forget. 3 things said by children who were too young, too specific, and too calm to be making it up. Some things, once heard, cannot be unheard. My daughter was 4 years old when she started talking about the man upstairs. We lived in a single-story house. There was no upstairs. It started casually. She mentioned him at dinner one evening. Said she'd been talking to the man upstairs while she was playing in her room. My husband and I exchanged a look. We asked her to tell us more about him. She described him in detail. Old, white hair, wore a blue shirt. She said he came to her window sometimes and talked to her through the glass. She said he was nice, but sad. We were concerned, obviously. We checked the yard outside her window carefully. No one had been there. No footprints in the flower bed under the window, no disturbance. We reminded her not to talk to strangers and gently tried to discourage the game. But she kept mentioning him. Over the next few weeks, she said various things he'd told her. That he used to live in our house, that he missed his garden, that he was sorry about the mess in the basement. We had not told her, at any point, that the previous owner of the house had been an elderly man who died in the property. We didn't know ourselves until we called the realtor to ask some unrelated questions, mentioned our daughter's imaginary friend, and were met with a long pause. The previous owner had been an elderly man, white-haired, had lived there for 40 years, had a garden he was very proud of, had died in the house, in the basement, of a heart attack. Our daughter had never been told any of this. She was 4. She had no access to this information. She stopped mentioning him about 6 months after we moved in. Just stopped one day with no explanation. When we asked about him once after that, she looked at us blankly and said she didn't know what we were talking about. I've thought about it almost every day since, not with fear exactly, with something more complicated than that. Something closer to the feeling of standing at the edge of something vast and knowing you're only seeing a small part of it. My son started talking about his other family when he was 3. This is not unusual. Young children have rich fantasy lives, and parents are often advised not to read too much into imaginative play. But my son was not playing. He was matter-of-fact about it. Calm. The way children are when they're describing something as obvious as the color of the sky. He said he used to have a different mommy and daddy. He said they lived in a house near water. He said his name was Thomas. His name is not Thomas. His name has never been Thomas. Over the course of several months, he told us more details. The house had yellow curtains. His daddy worked on boats. He had a dog named Pepper. He said he got hurt very badly, and then he came to live with us instead. We didn't encourage it. We didn't discourage it either. We listened gently when he brought it up, and we did not probe. Then one afternoon he said something that made my husband put down what he was doing and look at me across the room. He said, I drowned. In the lake behind the house. I wasn't very old. He said it the way he might say he wanted juice. Completely flat. Completely calm. He is 7 now. He stopped talking about his other family around age 5, which is consistent with research on children who report past life memories, where the memories typically fade as children develop further. I am not a person who believed in reincarnation before my son. I am not certain I believe in it now. But I know what he told us. I know how specific it was. I know the look on his face when he talked about it. Not the look of a child telling a story, but the look of a child describing something they remember. And I know that when I searched for drowning deaths in the county he described, including the approximate time period he referenced, based on what he said about the world, I found a record that matched closely enough to make me close my laptop and not open it again for a week. My niece was 5 when my father-in-law passed away. She had met him only a handful of times. He lived far away and was not in good health for most of her life. She knew him as Grandpa Ray, a kind face on a video call, someone who sent birthday cards. At the funeral, my niece was quiet and well-behaved, the way small children sometimes are in spaces where they sense the weight of adult grief without fully understanding it. My sister-in-law kept her close. During the reception afterward, my niece tugged on my sleeve and asked to talk to me privately. I took her to a quieter corner of the room. She looked at me very seriously and said, "Grandpa Ray says you shouldn't be sad. He says the thing you're worried about is going to be okay." I did not know how to respond to that. I asked her what she meant. She said Grandpa Ray had talked to her in the car on the way to the funeral home. My sister-in-law had been alone with her in the car. No one else was present. The thing I was worried about, and I want to be clear that I had told no one, not my husband, not my sister-in-law, not anyone present at that funeral, was a medical test result I was waiting on. Something potentially serious. I had been trying not to think about it. My niece had no way of knowing. She is 5. She doesn't know what medical tests are. The result came back the following week. It was fine. Nothing to worry about, the doctor said. I've told this story exactly twice, including now. My sister-in-law was the first. She didn't seem surprised. She said kids pick up on things. Maybe that's true. Maybe my anxiety was visible in ways I didn't realize, and a perceptive child simply reflected it back to me in a comforting frame. But Grandpa Ray said it would be okay. And it was. I find it very hard to dismiss that entirely.